Martin Scorsese isn't just a legendary filmmaker, he's also a huge fan of cinema. When it comes to the 90s, he's highlighted a few films that really stood out to him, and if Scorsese says they're worth watching, you know there's something special. Here's a list of movies from the 90s that caught the eye of one of the greatest directors of all time. Like most moviegoers, Scorsese loves the Coen brothers. Fargo, a 1996 Best Picture nominee, is a quirky crime drama that follows a very pregnant sheriff, Frances McDormand, in small-town Minnesota, determined to solve a murder. The cultural eccentricities of the people of Minnesota and the Coens' dark humor are an irresistible combination, winning a Best Original Screenplay Oscar for the film. In discussing Fargo with Ebert, Scorsese said, "I like the whole picture because it's a comedy of manners. It's a movie that once it's on, if it's on television, I'll keep watching the whole thing. I get caught up in it." Heat is easily director Michael Mann's best film, which has become a modern classic crime drama in the eyes of both critics and viewers. The film was hyped as featuring the first ever face-to-face meeting of The Godfather Part 2 stars Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and it certainly delivered on the build-up, offering a tense thriller with fantastic performances from the all-star cast. Although most critics were favorable to the film upon release, it failed to score even a single Oscar nomination. Appreciation for the film only came in the years that followed. This isn't the 2004 Oscar winner from director Paul Haggis. Scorsese is referring to David Cronenberg's Crash, a twisted tale of sexual deviancy from 1996. Cronenberg co-wrote the screenplay about a TV producer, James Spader, who was involved in a serious car accident, only to discover a secretive group of people for whom car crashes have become a sort of fetish. Seriously strange but also superbly acted, Crash is a disturbing deep dive into the human psyche. Bottle Rocket not only marked the directorial debut of Wes Anderson, it gave us the Wilson brothers, Luke and Owen, who have become movie stars in their own right. The film, which follows three shiftless friends who try to pull off the perfect robbery and hit the road, is actually a feature-length version of a short the three made together while classmates at the University of Texas. Wes Anderson's quirky humor and signature camera work are already evident here, the first inkling of a career that has seen 7 Oscar nominations. Emily Watson's Oscar-nominated performance is the heart of Lars von Trier's drama about a Scottish woman in a remote village who marries an offshore oilman. After he is paralyzed in an accident, he insists she continues on with life, setting her off on a path of self-destruction. Breaking the Waves features von Trier's unique storytelling style, which is likely what caught Scorsese's attention, and the devastating ending will stay with you for a while. Bad Lieutenant is a dark, violent crime drama starring Harvey Keitel as a corrupt cop who seeks a path to personal redemption while working a case. Keitel has worked with Scorsese 6 times, and the director considers him one of his favorite actors. Keitel reportedly was so committed to the film, he stayed in character throughout production and improvised many of his lines, providing one of the finest performances of his career. Stanley Kubrick's final film was his first project in over a decade, following his Vietnam epic Full Metal Jacket. Filmed under a veil of secrecy, Kubrick had complete creative control of the film, which took well over a year to shoot, resulting in a dark masterpiece completed just 4 days before his death. Scorsese, a self-professed fan of Kubrick, calls Eyes Wide Shut a profound film about love, sex, and trust in a marriage, about learning to take things day by day. The Taiwanese film A Borrowed Life is an autobiographical tribute to the director's father, a miner who struggled to provide for his family in 1950s Taiwan. The father is partial to the Japanese culture Taiwan embraced for decades, while the son is more familiar with the Chinese way of life after that country took over the island following World War II. This clash of cultures plays out in a detailed character study, and Scorsese points out, the camera remains still. It lives with the characters, and it observes their most difficult emotional interactions with a restraint that often becomes painful. The Thin Red Line is director Terrence Malick's adaptation of James Jones's autobiographical novel about the war in the Pacific. In his comments on the film, Scorsese marvels at Malick's unusual narrative, which is more radical in technique than his. If Malick had just done a straightforward narrative, Could he ever have achieved the kind of poetry he does here? Or made a film where you really come to see the world as a primeval place? I don't think so, he said. Though The Thin Red Line was nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Picture, it didn't win a single one. Set in 1923 Tibet, this Chinese film is about a member of a clan in a remote mountain region who is caught stealing from their Buddhist temple and banished, along with his wife and child. With his family facing starvation, the thief clings to his faith and attempts to find redemption and acceptance back into the clan. Scorsese said, "Horse Thief was a real inspiration to me. It's that rare thing, a genuinely transcendental film."